Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatch and I'm here at the Chickamauga Dam with Heather, who is over here somewhere. There she is. Show them your camera. And we are going to attempt to do some bird photography, birds in flight today. Hopefully we will get to photograph some osprey. We've already seen a couple flying around. In fact, there's one right there and one right there. So hopefully they will fly close enough for us to make some photos with our Canon R7s, and we're both starting out with the 100 to 500 and no teleconverter. Before we walked down to the fishing pier, I had to stop and make a quick photograph of this beautiful tree swallow that was there on a sign. This one looks like it has been banded. There are actually 4 osprey flying around and lots of great blue heron and some cormorant, so we're thinking we should have plenty of targets here this morning. Now we're down here on the fishing pier, so we are kind of right in the action. The fishing pier is right beside the dam, and you can see, look, there's a great blue heron right there fishing right below us. Chickamauga Dam. Here's a quick photo of a great blue heron that was flying around near the base of the dam, and you can see all the rocks bokeh-fied in the background. Well, Heather and I have made ourselves at home and just brought chairs out here to sit on the fishing pier. We're getting a little bit more light now. It was really overcast this morning, but now it's partly cloudy. And we've kind of discovered, and this is something that I noticed with my R6, although I prefer to shoot mechanical, you can track the birds better in electronic. So, and we don't want to have as many files on our card as 30 frames per second would provide. So we've switched to the medium speed, which I think on electronic drops you back down to 15 frames per second, and 15 frames per second is what you get on the mechanical shutter at full speed. And we're thinking that you can track the birds better because there's not occasionally, or 15 times a second, a shutter closing, so you can keep the bird in the frame better while it's flying by. So anyway, we're doing electronic at the middle speed. Here is Heather's first photograph in the video, and hers will say Heather Boyd in the bottom right. And look, it's a great blue heron that was having a great day of fishing. Here it has 2 little shad minnows in its mouth, and here is my photograph of the heron with 2 other shad minnows in its mouth. These were not taken at the same time. And here's one of Heather's photos as the heron is juggling the fish so it can swallow it. And then I made a video clip of the same great blue heron fishing in that same spot. This was down below the fishing pier, and there you can see it's caught another little shad minnow and is gulping it down. Here is an in-flight shot of an osprey. This is actually what we went to the Chickamauga Dam to photograph, were the osprey, and this is probably my favorite of my in-flight osprey shots. Here is another osprey shot flying around, and on this one it's kind of slowing down and really scanning the water to see if there's anything to dive for. Kind of doing the same thing in this shot, but looking back. They're constantly flying around over the water and looking down for fish that are near the top of the water. Here's another photograph with it almost looking right at us, but really it's looking at the water nearby. Next up, we have a black vulture that was flying around. I thought this shot turned out pretty cool, and these next shots are probably the best shots of the entire video. These were made by Heather using mechanical shutter while I was going to get the chairs that we sat in, and she's got the osprey who has caught a fish, and you can see the water coming off of the osprey and the fish where it has dove into the water, and she got 2 or 3 good shots of it flying with the fish. So that is really what we went to photograph, and Heather bagged it while I was going to get the chairs. The light conditions are constantly changing this morning. It had gotten to where it was partly cloudy, so we had kind of some pretty light, and now it's fully 100% overcast, and so we're having to a little less shutter speed, a little more ISO. Having fun with these cameras. Heather says she's never been able to track a bird like this before. Sometimes when it's extremely overcast, like it was for a little while that morning, you can expose for the bird and blow the sky almost completely out, and then you get these high key looking birds in flight photographs. And that's what I did with the first 2 osprey pictures that you're seeing in this section. And here is a beautiful double-crested cormorant in flight. Got this one as it was soaring in towards us, and you can see its beautiful turquoise blue eye. Meanwhile, the great blue heron is still down below the fishing pier and feasting away on the minnows. We saw it catch so many. It's definitely not going hungry, although usually I see heron eating larger fish than this. Now here is an osprey in flight, a little bit better light on this one than the last couple of shots. And take a look at this shot. Now you can see the cofferdam there in the background, and it looks like it is leaning over, but it's not leaning over. I was in electronic shutter mode, and this is rolling shutter distortion that you're seeing here. Here is a double-crested cormorant swimming in the water near the fishing pier. And this next photograph is a double-crested cormorant doing a takeoff run. It's a lot of effort to get these water birds out of the water and into the air. It's starting to get notably hotter out here, and the osprey activity has really died down. Mostly what we've been shooting lately is cormorant. We thought this great blue heron was extremely beautiful with its amazing feathers. They were just so perfect. Maybe it was a juvenile and it hasn't seen the rigors of life below the Chickamauga Dam like some of the other great blue herons. And look at the great blue heron in this next little video clip. It's eating a fish that you would expect a great blue heron to eat, a much bigger fish, and you can even see it wiggling in its neck after it swallows it. Here is a double-crested cormorant that I photographed, and it has found a minnow to eat. And look at this next shot. Heather has photographed a double-crested cormorant, and it is going to the bathroom as it flies over the Tennessee River. And it's the same river that it eats out of, because here's another double-crested cormorant, and it is eating another one of the minnows that all of these birds are having a successful morning catching. Here's Heather's shot of this double-crested cormorant with its great turquoise eyes as it's just about to take off. It's starting its takeoff run. Now we're back to the osprey flying around there at the dam, still looking for something to eat. They don't eat nearly as often, it seems, as the great blue heron. Here's one of Heather's photographs of the osprey flying over the water, looking down for some fish. And here is Heather's shot of a cormorant, and it's doing the fish juggle. They catch the fish and then they juggle them around before they swallow them. Now, this shot of the double-crested cormorant with the orchestra conductor wing position, this is my shot, and this is what they look like when they land. They come in and skid in for a landing. Here's another great osprey in flight, searching for food below. This is one of Heather's photographs there at the Chickamauga Dam. And here is another one of Heather's photos of the osprey as it is searching for food to eat below. Just a beautiful bird as they soar around. Here's another landing shot of a double-crested cormorant. This one hasn't quite got its feet in the water yet, but it's skidding in for a landing. And as we left, Heather had to get a photograph of a tree swallow, kind of like I did when we first came in. This one is probably a juvenile. Well, that was a lot of fun doing birds in flight with our new Canon R7 cameras. We were really hoping to get an osprey diving into the water and catching a fish and coming back out with it. And while that did happen a couple of times, it was always way far away. I mean, I don't know how wide the river is at this point, but it's probably, well over a half a mile. And we could see these things happening, but they were happening way in the distance. But anyway, we appreciate you joining us for our first attempt at birds in flight with our new Canon R7s, and I think they did pretty well. And if you like the content, thumbs up, subscribe, and all that mess. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and as always, we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye bye.